Morning. My name is Maxim, and today we're going to go through a proper warm-up. So this is going to be from head to toe, actually starting from the toe, going up to the head. So first things first, before we do any warm-up, I encourage you to take a short little brisk walk, just to warm everything up. You can go on a bike ride, or you can even just take a nice hot shower. So just something to kind of elevate your core temperature, because our muscles, just like any material, they become more elastic and they fire more effectively when they're warm. Okay, so first things first, part of the warm-up, we're going to kind of go everything in an anatomical fashion. So you're going to line up in front of something, take your right leg, and swing side to side, okay? When we're doing these warm-ups, it's very important that you kind of anchor yourself onto something. We don't want to include too many variables. I don't want you to balance and coordinate. I just want that joint to go through a full range of motion. So the leg is in front of you. I'll give you a different view here. The leg is in front of you, and it's swinging side to side, okay? Work on your range of motion. We want that leg to come up as high as possible, but within your limitations. So work on the range of motion. You don't have to bring it too high, but just within reason. Good. We went side to side. Now we go front to back. Try to keep that leg as straight as you can, kind of with a minimal bend. I understand it won't be fully straight, or else you're going to be scraping your feet on the floor. Little side view here. So see, it's coming back and front. And I'm not aggressive with it. I'm not swinging. I'm not kicking it. It's a gentle movement, okay? The whole point of this is we're taking that joint through full ranges of motion. Now, there's no specific set of repetitions. You can do 10, 15, 20. The point is just to kind of create that muscle-to-mind connection, understand what that joint is doing, okay? So we went side to side, front to back. What's the last movement? In and out, right? Because the femur and the acetabulum is a ball and socket joint. So you have the ball or the head of the femur. It enters the socket of the pelvis. So now it provides that nice rotate, that almost 360-degree rotation. So for that in and out, that transverse plane, we're going to just slightly tilt to our left side. Remember, we're still working on our right side. And now I want you to rotate your foot out and in. Now, use your foot as kind of your guide. You start off with the big toe looking forward, and at the end of the motion, your big toe is looking 90 degrees to your right, okay? Now, very important, you don't want the entire hips to shift. Hips are square, hips are in line, and you're shifting and turning that entire leg. So femur through the shin. So kind of in a different here. So you're standing up and you're shifting it out and in, out and in. Okay. Good. Let's switch sides. Give the other side some love here. Again, gentle swings. Now, because we're dissecting the body in half, take note of any imbalances. Does one side feel tighter than the other? Imbalances or an asymmetry is very common. We all have preferred sides. Sometimes after an injury, or if you have chronic pain in a particular limb, you'll favor the less painful movement, and kind of that's where that subconscious compensation occurs. So part of working out and exercise is understand. It's really an analogy to life. I mean, it helps you to analyze your weaknesses, and then you can create a game plan to combat them. Because just like any chain link, you're only as strong as that weakest part, right? Plus, I mean, ignoring those minor imbalances will eventually catch up to you, and then it changes your movement pattern. You become more susceptible to sprains, strains, and other injuries. So it's a journey. Beautiful. And now in and out, right? So again, we're just shifting that entire femur to out and in. Now, we do have an advanced variation for this turn. And so what I want you to do now, give me a sec here, let me Get caught up here. 3, 2, 1. Okay. So we're gonna go back to the right leg. Again, support yourself. Bring the right knee. So the thigh should be nice and parallel to the floor, okay? Flared out, okay? So parallel to the floor at 90 degrees. And now what you do is you're gonna rotate this thigh forward and backward, okay? So forward and backward. Woo! There it is. So that hip, or excuse me, this femur, this thigh is rotating again inside that socket. Rotating. Oh yeah. So a side view here. Boom, boom. Get you to get closer here. So forward, out. So see, I'm in line, and now I'm rotating it in and out. Good. Just focus on that rotation. Beautiful. Switch sides. Give the other side some action. Boom, boom. Again, pretend like I'm holding on to something, and then I'm rotating. See, taking that foot and shifting it. Here. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Beautiful. Good. See, the hips already started to kind of get mobilized. Good. Give me a couple of just hip swings here. So flashbacks of hula hoops, right? Childhood days. Good. So notice how my shoulders are still kind of in line with my center of gravity. I'm not coming down. I'm trying to keep an upright torso and just move the hips. We don't want the shoulders to be coming out of line. They're square, okay? And reverse direction. Big old swings here. Whew. Get you ready for Dirty Dancing, Havana Nights. 3, 2, and 1. Good. So kind of the hips are feeling good now. We're going to continue to work our way up. So kind of into the mid-back, glutes. Feet at shoulder width position, like so. Feet at shoulder width. Slight bend in the knees. And this is our traditional stiff-legged deadlift or Romanian deadlift. There's slight differences between the two, but the point is we want the hips nice and high. You're retracting the hips. You're bringing the hips back, feeling a nice pull in those hamstrings and the back of the legs, and then shooting forward. Now remember, you're leading the movement with the hips. It's the act of your hips coming back. That's what's lowering your torso. You're not actively bending at the waist, okay? You're bringing the hips back. You're not bending. You're bringing the hips back. Pretend that there's something behind you like a wall, and you want to bring those hips back as far as you can, as far as you can. Feel that pull, and then thrust forward. So again, those hips, they're not coming down. They're coming back. The problem is sometimes people want to avoid this stretch, and they bend the knees so they don't feel the stretch as much. That's kind of counterproductive here. We want to load these hamstrings. That's the whole point. A stretched muscle is a loaded muscle. So we're stretching it. The muscle is loaded. It's like a rubber band. It's tight. And what happens when you release the rubber band? Boom! It shoots. It fires. And that's what we're doing. So these Romanian deadlifts, they set the standard and the foundation for a lot of hinge movements because we're hinging at the hips. So you'll see in CrossFit and group fitness, they have the kettlebell swing. It's essentially the same movement, just in a wider stance. So you're thrusting. A good analogy is if you really can't fire, if you can't get those hips to fire, simply lay down on the floor and do a couple of glute bridges. Notice how similar this is. You're retracting the hips in the bottom position, and then you're shooting the hips forward. Retracting the hips, shooting the hips forward. This is the same thing, just in a standing position. You're bringing the hips back and then shooting them forward. Fantastic. Now, if you want to challenge yourself, there's you can just simply split the Romanian deadlift in half and do the single leg Romanian deadlift. So, again, movement pattern is identical. You're just going on one leg. Start with your strong foot first, the one you feel more comfortable with. Slight bend, again, on that front foot. And bring back that back foot. Let me get centered here. Good. Set your gaze on something in front of you. Nice neutral neck. bring that back foot back. And anchor. There it is. I'll give you a side view here. So again, there's an imaginary line that runs from the bottom of your foot through your femur, through your hip, and ends at the shoulder. It's one straight line, okay? As I lead with that back foot, I bring the back foot back, get a nice pull here, and then I hinge back, right? So I'm nice and straight, I'm hunched over, not hyperflexed either. I'm stiff as a board, right? And I'm letting that rear foot dictate my movement. Now, very important here. Look at my hips, okay? We want them to be square. So as I retract, I'm keeping the hips square. I'm not out here, okay? We don't want to be out here. Your body will try to compensate. We want to bring them back into a strong position. So hips need to be in line. We want to be curved. So this can be a little bit challenging, but just work on it, okay? Again, they're nice and square. I'm not compensating. Look at my hip position. This is bad. This is good. Some variations, I like to sometimes touch the floor when I come down with my feet. At times, if you are still having trouble with coordination, pick a point within 2 to 3 feet in front of you just to lock your eyes onto. It'll help with stability. And honestly, adding small weights might actually help improve stability with this movement, because think about it, it's like a pendulum. So if you have something in front of you, it acts and helps promote that forward lean a little bit, okay? So you just have to get creative sometimes if the traditional way doesn't work for you. Good. So kind of we hit everything there. Moving up, our mid-torso here, okay? Kind of plant your feet into the floor. Nice twist, side to side here. Nice twists. So the whole point of this, you can have a little movement in the pelvis, not too much yet. The whole point is to mobilize this mid-torso. We want to include a twisting motion here. Again, it's not violent. We're not trying to crank anything. We're just getting movement. We're just getting blood in there. Remember, the vertebra really don't have a lot of movement. They're pretty structured. They're solid. They're made to be more of a stabilizer, rather than true joint. So we don't need anything crazy here. Keep the shoulders down. We never want the shoulders up here. Just poor form. Just twisting side to side here. So think we want lead with the shoulders here. So shoulders should be straight in one direction, straight in the other. So let the shoulders lead the movement. 3, 2, 1. Beautiful. Okay. We're now up to the shoulders, okay? Kind of a common problem area for people. So first things first, big shoulder rotations, bring them front to back. Nice circle here. So by this time, you should start to feel pretty warm, kind of from our toes to our mid-torso. We're feeling good. So we're just getting these shoulders moving around. 3, 2, and 1. Good. Next, our scapular retractions. So we're reaching. You should feel a gentle stretch here and then pulling back, okay? So stretch and pinch. So what I mean stretch and pinch, you're stretching these shoulder blades like you're reaching for something, keeping the shoulders down, and then you're pinching those shoulder blades like you have there's a coin or a penny in between your shoulder blades, and you're pinching them together so that coin doesn't fall, okay? Pinch. And again, look at my shoulder position. They're never next to my ears. They're always down. Even when I'm reaching, I'm rounding the back a little bit, but those shoulders are never up here. So down. Always anchor these shoulders down. Creates a strong platform from which you can push and pull and create a strong foundation. 2, 1. Fantastic, fantastic. So we want forward and back. Now we're gonna go up and down, okay? So arms are gonna be straight. Now if you have pain, simply don't do this movement. What we want is the arms are gonna be straight up in the air. I want you to raise your shoulder blades up, pinch your head like a pimple, and then shoot the shoulders down. What this is doing is teaching you to anchor these shoulders down, okay? So bring them up, pinch your neck. You should feel these traps. You should feel these starting to fire, and then boom, shoot them down. Because teaching you to distinguish between an improper position and a powerful pressing position, that's really the key here. We're trying to reprogram your nervous system because you should be pressing with the shoulders down. Shouldn't be up here. So kind of when I teach you this shoulder shrug, you should feel, okay, this is kind of the opposite of what I'm supposed to do. I want them down, okay? So up, 1, 2, 3, and down. Hold them. 3, 2, 1, up. 1, 2, 3, and down. So this is proper. This is improper. Down. 1, 2, 3. Up. 1, 2, 3, and down. Hold. 3, 2, 1. Beautiful. Good job. So we went up and down, front to back. Take a guess with the next one. Out and in, right? So yeah, kind of have your hands. There's a lot of variations here. We'll start here. Arms out in front. Open up the chest, and then come in. So you're giving yourself a big hug. You're coming in, hugging that oak tree, and then opening up. So arm position is very variable here. Some people like to start close. Other people like to go out wide. It's all about, again, that scapula movement. They're rounding out, and then they're being pinched in. Out and in, okay? Out. Again, and this will feel very similar to that reach and pinch. It's just a slightly different motion because just the range of motion is more circular. It's less, less linear like a front and back. So very similar, but obviously different enough because the whole point of this, I'm trying to teach you different movement patterns. You're not always going to be reaching forward and back. You might have to hug someone very large one day. Again, go at your own pace. Feel free to pause at any of these. I'm just kind of showing you as much as I can. Okay, here we go. Next, we need, because the shoulder joint, really the rotator cuff, is a ball and socket, we need to include some rotational motion, right? So have your arms straight out, and pretend like you're holding a cup, okay? And holding it upright. Then you're gonna rotate it, you're gonna pour it down, okay? So it's up and down. Now again, if you do have pain when you do this movement, could be indicative of an injury or some rotator cuff issues. At that point, consult your healthcare professional. But hey, at least you identified it and you realized something was wrong. Now, there's a difference between pain and simply resistance or tightness, okay? So make sure you differentiate the two. It's very common for people to have tightness in the shoulders because guess what? We live in a sedentary society. Our shoulders are leaning forward. We have poor posture. So a little tightness is almost expected. But if you're having like a sharp, piercing pain, you have a paresthesia, a tingling running down your arms. There's maybe a little nerve impingement. Go seek a professional opinion, okay? Because we want you to be safe. And the old slogan of no pain, no gain does not apply here, okay? Because the problem is when you try to work through pain, you're gonna bypass the proper technique because your body wants to bypass that pain. So it's gonna alter the way you function and move, and we don't want that. And it usually leads to poor technique. So don't work through pain, okay? The advanced variation for this, if you can do this, you can even bend at your elbow, kind of keep the arms at 90 degrees, and then rotate down and up. So again, a little bit more advanced. But same principle, you're rotating that shoulder in and out. Remember, keep that shoulder down. We don't want it, up here. Now again, if you hear any crunching and bone-on-bone action, stop immediately. Okay? Just because you can doesn't mean you should. And again, the other side here. But for those that this feels great, If you do this on a regular basis, you will see an increased range of motion. Good. So again, just open everything up. Again, see, I'm not cranking it. Going nice and slow, going about it methodically. That's really the key here. Okay, very good, very good. And I think that kind of wraps it up. If you do have kind of some tight shoulders, you can do a simple, or excuse me, tight traps. You can do a simple stretch here. Right arm goes behind the back. Take your left arm and just a nice pull, like so. You're gonna feel that entire right side. Nice 10 seconds here. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Then you can even, and work that head and that neck to different positions. Again, just a gentle pull here. And you'll notice as you work the head down, and work it through different positions, you'll feel different parts of the neck, like sternocleidomastoid, trapezius, kind of different elements start to stretch. So play around with it, see what feels good, switch sides. Again, this isn't anything too crazy. I'm just trying to stretch. Obviously, if you have herniated discs or nerve impingement, go about this very cautiously. We don't want to re-aggravate anything. Nice hold. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and fantastic. Good job. So you survived the warm-up. Now you're ready for an actual workout. So go on my page, get your pick out a workout, and I'll see you next week. Take care. Be well.